Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. You are Crafting with Kim Byers, and today we are making earrings. So if you've ever wondered how to make sublimation earrings, that's what we're doing today. So we are going to show our team spirit, whether it be football, baseball, cross country, all those things that you might be playing in the fall. I know that a lot of rec leagues are also playing, baseball in the fall. Whatever that is, we are gonna make earrings for those today. So we made t-shirts earlier in the week, and so today we're making the earrings to go with our sports themed t-shirt. So if you haven't seen that video, I'm putting a link up above. Make sure you hop up and check that out. Okay, so we're gonna hop over to the computer. I'm gonna show you everything that we're doing today, and then we're gonna go over to the craft table and put it all together. So let's go. Okay, so here we are on some of my favorite design sites. And so when I am not designing things for myself, I love to go to these sites and pick up some really cute stuff. So if you're thinking about making Halloween earrings or pumpkin earrings for fall, or football earrings, or any of the sport earrings, this is such a fun site to come to. And you can get, some of the traditional designs. I love the eyes. Or the little bats, and then something a little more whimsical, maybe like the ghost. There's so many things to pick from, or just going with pattern, football patterns too. And so these are really fun. So you could even put like your son's helmet on one side with the number, and then a jersey on the other side with his number. That would be a ton of fun if you are cheering for your kiddo this season. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're just gonna grab a couple of patterns and move them into Canva. Okay, so here we are on canva.com. So this is a free website where you can design things if you want to, or you can mirror image designs that have already been created. So I'm just going to show you how to set up your earrings. So if you go into create a design, and by the way, this is a free service. There is a paid version if you want it, but what we're doing today is the free version. And I'm just going to do a custom size and do an 8.5 by 11 because my sublimation paper is just like regular printer paper. It's just 8.5 by 11. So once you have your design, you're going to be able to go into uploads and pull in designs. You can go into photos and search things that are free, elements, things that are free. Okay, so this is the page that I've already designed. So the cool thing about earrings is they're so small that you can do tons of designs on one sheet of paper. So what I did is I went into elements and I picked up things for football. So I just searched helmet. And then you can take one of these helmets and then go into text. So if I click on this, you're going to see the text is overlaid onto that helmet design. So you can put your kid's number on the helmet. You could also do this with a jersey. That would be another really cute earring. Or you could do patterns like these. So these are some of the things that I downloaded from that site that I was just showing you. And so you can look and see all the different patterns that I pulled in. So you can pull in anything that you want to put on your specific earring. So here's just a couple of tips for doing that. So you want to measure your earring. So the one I'm using is kind of like a teardrop. And so what I did is I made a square, just going into elements, and I just literally searched for square. And then you can just take that square and pull it in, and so then you can design within it. So pulling and pulling at the corners like this. So mine is, I'm going to delete that because mine is roughly 2 inches by 2 inches. It's just shy of that, but I want to bleed. I want to make sure that the design goes all the way to the edges. So I just used my square, and then I put my design inside of it. And so I did the same, and then I did a reverse of that. So let me show you with the helmet. So if I want my helmets facing each other, and so I pull in, let's just go really quickly over to elements. We'll pull back up our football helmet. So we pull that helmet design in, and then go up here, see flip, and then we can just turn that around. And so say the team that you're rooting for is not blue and red, you can go up into colors and you can change that. Okay, so let's delete that. So if you were going to do the helmet and then you wanted text, you could just go in and pick any font that you wanted. So maybe a block font. And you pull that in, and then you just put in your kid's number. Now, if we want patterns, what I would suggest, there's a couple of things with patterns. If you go into uploads, so say we brought in a pattern of leaves. So if you drag this at the corner, it's going to make the entire thing smaller, which may be what you want. But if you wanted a subset of that, or if you didn't want the pattern to get any smaller, what you would do is go up into crop and then just crop it to the size that you want, hit done, and then when you drag it and drop it that corner, so I'm going to delete that. So you can see that in the patterns that I downloaded here and here. Now, I also wanted to do this little candy corn. I thought it would be really cute to put it on color. And then my little witches, I decided to put those on white. And by the way, I know in the beginning I said that we were just going to do sports, but I couldn't help. I got a little carried away with the Halloween. I couldn't help it. So we're going to do the football, and then we have some baseball, and then we're going to jump into a little bit of Halloween. So if you want to do color behind the image, so that square that we put there to give us, a shape around the football. If you do that, you can go up into the colors and choose any number of colors, like really fun backdrops for your design. So I am going to use black. And then I got the candy corn actually from Canva. So I went into Elements and I just searched candy corn. And so all these little candy corns pop up. And so I chose to do this little fun roundish shaped one. The most important thing when you're doing this type of design is to make sure that your one element is going to fit on your earring. So I have these as 2 by 2, these little squares. And so I wanted this guy to be something, like 0.7. I want to make sure I'm able to center him well within my earring. And then you also have the witches. And so again, if you want them to face one another instead of, being in two opposite directions, you would just hit flip. Okay, so now that we have our designs the way that we want them to be, and we're ready to go and print those out for sublimation, important something. If you are using this for sublimation, you have to mirror image it. So what we're going to do is you could go in and mirror image each individual design, but since we have some things layered, I personally think the easier way to go would be to download it as a PNG and then bring it back in as an image and mirror image the entire thing. Here's the other piece of that. If you have lettering on your design, you can't use the flip feature. So if I click on that, you see flip disappears. Okay. So if I click on the helmet, flip is there. And that's because this is text, and Canva will not allow you to flip text. So what we want to do is we're just going to go up into download. We want it to be a PNG. We're going to only use one of the pages. So we're going to use that top page. And so then we're going to download it. Now just save that somewhere to your computer, save it to your desktop, somewhere you can easily locate it. Once that has downloaded, then what we want to do is to bring it back in as an image. So now we'll go over into uploads, upload media. So see, now it's coming in as an image. So then on this canvas that you've done here, if you just go up and select add a page, so we added a page, we're going to bring that design in. Now this is important. You have everything sized the way that you want it to be. So you're going to need to make sure that you pull this design all the way to the edges so it is the same size that you downloaded it as. Okay, so now once we have this here and it is an image, you can use the flip. So we reversed everything on that sheet, and now we do the download process again. And now this is the sheet that we will send to the printer. So with sublimation, you just want to make sure that you are doing all the things for printing. So I am using my Epson, and again, the video's up above if you want to know how to create your own sublimation printer from an Epson EcoTank. But when this little window comes up, super important, guys, you want to do two things. You want to make sure it's photo on matte paper. You don't want it to be the default setting because it's going to print it very low quality. So matte paper, and then down here, we're not going to scale to fit. Like, we want to make sure that this is 100. And then we send it to print. Okay, so this is my Epson printer, and so I use an A-sub paper that we can find on Amazon, and I'll put that link for you. Okay, so here we are on the craft table, and these are all the things that we're going to be using today. So this is the print off that we just got off the printer. These are my Sublimation blank earrings. They come with these little fish hooks. I have a lint roller, my Easy Press Mini, my mat. This is butcher paper, heat tape, pair of scissors, and then I picked this up at Target. I was in the earring section and just thought those little pliers were perfect for this project. Okay, so let's move everything out of the way and I'll show you how to set up your first earring. So with sublimation in earrings, these earrings are actually, you can sublimate on both sides, which I think is really cool because you could have, two different, like a pattern of Halloween on one side and then the candy corn on the other. You could have helmets on one side and you could have footballs on the other. So that's why you see so many that kind of pair together. So like maybe having the witch and then the witch pattern on the back. So just remember, you can sublimate on both sides of these. Also, candidly, if you messed up on one side slightly, you could make sure that you put the, more perfect side facing out. Okay, so these also have a clear protective sheet. So we just want to make sure that we remove the protective sheet, and I have from the front side of this one. And so then we're going to go ahead and pick which design we're going to do first. So patterns are pretty easy. I mean, you cut out the pattern, you overlay it. There's not a lot of centering and things like that. But when you get to the individual elements, you want to make sure that you do what they call fussy cutting and sewing on the sublimation. So let's go ahead and just take our scissors and cut out a few things, and I'll show you what I mean. So now we have our butcher paper down to protect our mat. We have our lint roller. What we need to do is make sure that that protective sheet is off of the earring. And then we'll take our lint roller and just gently go over the earring just to make sure there's no lint. Because remember, when you do sublimation, if there's any lint on the design or on the element, the design will stick to the lint, and then when you pull the paper away, unfortunately you'll pull the lint away and then you'll have spots on your design, and we don't want that. Okay, so now what we do is we take our element, remember we mirror imaged it, and then we want to place it on our earring. And I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but you can kind of see through the design or through the paper to the design to make sure that we are getting it in the center of that teardrop. And so once you think you have that in place, grab some heat tape and then just adhere it to the earring. Okay, so we'll put one on this side as well. And so then we place it down on our butcher paper. We cover it up with more butcher paper because we don't want to damage our heat press. And then with the mini, it doesn't have the little temperature gauge, and so what we want to do is all 3 bars. Okay? And it's pretty much as easy as that. So we'll do this for 60 seconds and then we will remove it and see our earring. Okay, so now what we want to do is put our easy press back on the cradle, and we want to give it a few minutes to cool. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. So we take off the butcher paper, and then we take off our tape. And by the way, with sublimation, you want to make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area because it does have a smell. I mean, there are chemicals that come off of this. Oh my goodness, guys, how great would that be to support your kiddo? That is so cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the others and do a Halloween one as well. Okay, so I did one more with a pattern like this, the little witch flying across the moon, and so the pattern turns out like this. Very fun. And then I did the larger witch on the other side. Isn't that cute? Okay, and so the last thing that we want to do is take our small pliers and the fish hooks and the little rings that come with each earring, and you want to place those on. Just make sure that you place them on so that once they hang, they're hanging face forward of how you want them to hang in your ear. And then sometimes, you know, you can put the little ring in and close it slightly and then put the fish hook on, and I find that that is definitely an easier way to go. Okay, so what'd you think? That was really simple, right? There's not a lot to it, and it's really easy to make, especially a lot of them if you want to make them for all of the sports at one time, or if you want to make them for, you know, family members and things who are cheering on your kids. This is such a fun project to make. Okay, so if you have any questions whatsoever, or if you want to leave a comment, I love comments, but if you have any questions, leave them down in the description below, and I'm putting links to everything that we used here today so you can easily find them, and I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and join me for all my future videos. See you guys next time.